All right, you degenerates, welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we dissect all the fucked up shit the world throws at us.
Love that intro.
So today, we're going head first into a world of this tiny asshole that's been wreaking havoc
Oh, yeah.
on pine trees.
Yeah.
Tomicus Piniperda, also known as the common pine shoot beetle.
Touchy name.
This little fucker is native to Europe and Asia, but now it's here in North America.
Yeah, it's been a real pain in the ass for foresters, to be honest.
So for our listeners who don't know about this little shit, break it down for us.
Well, they're tiny.
Tiny terror.
Yeah, but they have this messed up life cycle. They start out, in dead or dying pine trees.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nature's a bitch.
Nature is a bitch, but then they get this taste for the good life, and they decide they want to munch on the fresh, juicy shoots.
The finer things.
The finer things, the young pines. Healthy ones.
So they're like the freeloaders who crash your party, eat all your food, and then piss on your carpet on the way out.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And the damage they do is pretty noticeable, by the way.
Yeah.
These beetles, they bore into the young shoots, which, as you can imagine, messes up the tree's growth. So imagine a perfectly straight pine.
Right.
And then suddenly it's growing all wonky and deformed because of these little shits.
So these tiny little shits are actually impacting the economy.
Absolutely.
That's next level asshole behavior.
Yeah, it's not just the aesthetics either.
Oh.
This damage weakens the trees.
Right.
So they become susceptible to other pests, diseases.
So it's a domino effect of bullshit.
It's a whole domino effect of bullshit.
So the Tomicus Piniperda are like the little shits in the schoolyard who pick fights with everyone.
Yeah, I like that analogy. They disrupt the natural balance, and it can have a real impact on the whole ecosystem.
So we've established these beetles are assholes?
Uh-huh.
How the hell did they even get to North America? Did they, swim across the Atlantic or something?
I wish it was that dramatic.
Yeah.
No, they most likely hitched a ride on some imported wood.
Fucking globalization.
Globalization.
Oh.
Double-edged sword.
Always causing problems.
We get access to all sorts of cool shit from around the world, but we also get invasive species that can fuck up our ecosystems.
So when did this shit show begin? When did we first realize we had these little bastards in our borders?
Well, the first sighting was in Ohio. Back in 1992.
92.
And since then, they've spread like wildfire to multiple states, even parts of Canada.
They're relentless. What the fuck are we doing about it?
Well, scientists are fighting back.
Yeah.
With various control methods, like, for example, pheromone traps.
Pheromone traps, what, like beetle Viagra or something?
Not quite.
Okay.
But these traps use specific scents that attract the beetles, luring them to their doom. It's like setting up a buffet of pine-flavored death.
So we're catfishing them.
We're catfishing them.
With the promise of delicious pine scent.
Exactly.
And then, bam, they get tracked.
It's pretty effective.
That's clever.
It's a good way to manage the populations without resorting to, insecticides.
Right.
Which can have unwanted side effects.
Collateral damage and all that. So pheromone traps. Got it. What else are we doing?
Well, another important strategy is just good forest management.
Okay.
So that means removing dead and dying trees.
Right.
Which are basically breeding grounds for these beetles.
So we're talking about a bit of forest hygiene.
Exactly.
Keeping things tidy so these little shits don't have a place to party.
You got it.
But here's something I find fascinating about these beetles.
Okay.
I read somewhere that they don't actually use pheromones for mating.
That's right.
So they're not getting it on with the help of pine-scented perfume.
No, their pheromones are more about finding food and suitable breeding sites.
Oh, okay.
They're attracted to the scents released by damaged trees, which is kind of messed up when you think about it.
So it's like they can smell weakness.
Yeah.
The opportunistic little bastards.
But they do have other ways of communicating, by the way. It's just not as well understood as the pheromone system. There's still a lot we don't know about these beetles, which makes them even more intriguing.
Intriguing, annoying as fuck, I'd say. But let's dig into this scent thing. What exactly are they attracted to?
So it's all about these things called monoterpenes.
Monoterpenes?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
They're volatile compounds found in pine resin. When a tree is damaged, it releases these monoterpenes. And the Tomicus Piniperda,
Yeah.
they're all over that shit.
So it's like a pine-flavored buffet of doom for them.
Pretty much. They
Yeah.
smell those monoterpenes and they're like, let's go fuck shit up.
So they're not just assholes, they're greedy assholes.
They're greedy assholes. It gets even weirder. Not only are they attracted to these scents,
Yeah.
they actually contribute to the damage themselves.
How do they do that?
So their boring activity creates wounds that release even more of those enticing scents.
So it's like a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Attracted to the damage, cause more damage, which attracts more beetles, and so on. It's a real mess. I can't with these beetles, man.
It's understandable.
They're really starting to piss me off.
It's understandable.
But remember, it's not just the Tomicus Piniperda causing trouble out there.
Oh, no.
There's a whole bunch of other beetle species,
A whole bunch.
all vying for the same resources.
Vying for that sweet, sweet pine.
Oh yeah, the beetle turf wars.
Oh, yeah.
I'm imagining tiny beetles in little gladiator outfits just battling it out for dominance.
Wouldn't that be a sight?
So who are the unfortunate bastards getting pushed around?
Well, one of their main victims is the Tomicus minor, the lesser pine shoot beetle.
Tomicus minor. Sounds like kind of a little bitch compared to the Piniperda.
Well, they are smaller and they're less aggressive. And when the Tomicus Piniperda rolls up,
Yeah.
they're basically forced to settle for scraps.
Damn. So it's like high school all over again.
Pretty much. The Tomicus Piniperda is the big man on campus. They breed earlier in the season. They're bigger, more aggressive, and they take the best spots.
These little shits are ruthless.
Yeah.
So what does this beetle battle royale mean for the forest? Is it just a case of, like, survival of the fittest, or is there a bigger picture here?
That's a great question. Scientists are still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
On the one hand, competition is natural.
Right.
It helps regulate populations and make sure resources are distributed.
So maybe it's not all bad.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But we also have to consider that the Tomicus Piniperda is an invasive species.
Right.
It's disrupted the balance of the North American forests, and we don't fully understand the long-term consequences yet.
So it's like throwing a wrench into a finely tuned machine.
Exactly. Like introducing a new predator into an ecosystem that hasn't evolved to deal with it. The ripple effects can be unpredictable.
Shit, that's some scary stuff.
Yeah, so these tiny assholes are drawn to those monoterpenes. They sniff out the weakest link, the trees that can't fight back.
So it's all about survival then.
Exactly. It's nature's way.
It's like they're smelling out the losers.
Well, nature can be a real bitch, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's important to remember these beetles, they're just doing what they evolved to do. It's
Yeah.
not like they're out there trying to intentionally destroy forests. It's all about survival and reproduction, you know?
Okay, so no malicious intent, just a bunch of hungry assholes looking for a good time.
Yeah.
But we were talking to how they actually contribute to the damage themselves.
Oh, yeah.
How does that work?
So, like we said, they bore into the shoots.
Right.
They create these wounds. And what happens,
Yeah.
those wounds release even more of those enticing monoterpenes. It's like they're ringing the dinner bell.
So they're basically turning the whole forest into a giant beetle orgy.
Yeah, well, not exactly an orgy, but you get the idea. The scent plume they create can travel quite a distance, attracting even more beetles to the party.
So it's like a beetle rave.
Yeah, it's a beetle rave with everyone high on pine-flavored pheromones.
Okay, so let's talk about these pheromone traps. How the hell do they work?
Well, these traps, they use synthetic versions of the beetle's own pheromones to lure them in.
So we're basically catfishing them with the promise of a pine-scented love.
Exactly.
It's pretty devious. I like it.
It's effective. It's a good way to control their populations without, resorting to harsher methods like insecticides.
Yeah, because we don't want to be collateral damage kings.
Oh.
So pheromone traps, check.
Check.
What else?
Well, we talked about it before. Good forest management is crucial.
Okay.
Removing dead and dying trees,
Right.
which are basically breeding grounds for these beetles, can make a big difference.
So keeping the forest tidy so the beetles don't have a place to party.
Exactly. By reducing the availability of these sites, suitable breeding sites, we can really slow down their spread.
Okay. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the research. Scientists are always trying to understand the enemy better. What are they learning about the Tomicus Piniperda?
So much. Scientists, they're digging deep into their genetics, their behavior, their interactions. They're trying to unravel the mysteries of this pheromone system, how they choose their trees, why they're so damn successful at spreading and causing damage.
It's like a CSI episode.
Beetle CSI.
Beetle CSI, but with beetles instead of dead bodies.
Yeah.
What are some of the most fascinating things they've found?
Well, one interesting area is looking at the specific genes that control pheromone production.
Okay.
So the thinking is, if we can understand how these genes work, maybe we can develop new strategies that target their communication.
So like jamming their signals,
Yeah,
making it harder for them to find each other and hook up.
exactly. Another area of research is focusing on their gut microbiome.
Their gut microbiome.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the bacteria that live in their digestive systems.
Okay.
And it turns out these bacteria may play a role in their ability to break down and digest those pine needles.
Wait, so they have a whole ecosystem living inside their guts, helping them devour our trees.
Pretty wild, huh?
That's fucked up.
But the point is, if we can understand how that microbiome works, maybe we can develop new strategies that disrupt those digestive processes.
So biological warfare on a microscopic scale.
You got it. But let's be real. Are we really going to be able to stop these invasive little bastards?
Right. Or are we just delaying the inevitable pinepocalypse?
Honestly, it's hard to say.
Okay.
You know these beetles.
Yeah.
They're tough, they're adaptable, and they're spreading.
Right.
But we're learning more about them all the time, developing new tools to fight back. This is a battle we have to fight, for the sake of our forests.
Right. For the sake of our forests.
And the ecosystems that they support.
Damn right. We can't let some tiny assholes from Europe dictate the fate of our trees.
That's the spirit. Nature is a complex system, right? Every species plays a role, even the ones we might consider pests. It's about finding ways to manage those populations.
To maintain a balance.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about eradication. It's about finding a way to coexist.
It's the most sustainable approach. We need to find ways to live in harmony with nature, even the parts that piss us off.
All right, that's some deep shit right there. Welcome back, you magnificent bastards, to the final round of our deep dives into the world of the Tomicus Piniperda.
Final round.
We've talked about their fucked up life cycle, their scent addiction, and their reign of terror over those Tomicus minor wimps. But how the hell do we stop these little shits from turning our forest into a wasteland of, wonky pines?
Well, there's no easy answer. No silver bullet, no magic spray that's going to wipe them out overnight.
So no flamethrowers.
No flamethrowers. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
I was hoping for some explosive action.
It's a multifaceted problem. It requires a multifaceted approach. We're talking integrated pest management.
Integrated pest management.
Which is a fancy way of saying we use a combination of strategies to keep their populations in check.
Okay, so what's in our arsenal? Besides those pheromone traps, which, by the way, I got a bit pretty damn clever.
Pheromone traps are great. They're very targeted,
Yeah.
We can get these beetles specifically without harming other insects or wildlife.
Right. We don't want to be collateral damage kings wiping out entire ecosystems just to get rid of a few pesky beetles.
Exactly. And remember, we talked about good forest management.
Yeah.
Still one of the most effective ways to prevent outbreaks. Removing those dead and dying trees, we're eliminating those breeding sites, making the forest less hospitable.
So it's like keeping your house clean to prevent cockroaches.
There you go.
Less clutter, less temptation.
Less clutter, less temptation for those little shits to move in.
Yeah.
And it's not just about removing dead trees either.
Oh.
We also need to promote healthy forests.
Right.
Trees that are strong, vigorous, they're better able to resist attacks from these pests.
Okay, so we're keeping the forest fit and fighting fit. No weaklings allowed.
Exactly. On top of that, there's a lot of research trying to understand these beetles even better.
Right.
Digging into their genetics,
Okay.
behavior, interactions.
Science, bitch. Always coming to the rescue.
Scientists are always trying to find, new and more effective ways to control them.
Okay, so what are they cooking up in the labs? Any, genetically modified super predators that will devour these little bastards?
Not quite yet, but there are some interesting developments.
Yeah.
For instance, researchers are looking into RNA interference.
RNA interference?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What is that?
It could potentially, shut down their pheromone production or interfere with their development.
So we're talking about hacking their DNA and turning them into harmless little wimps.
Yeah, it's a promising area of research. There's also work being done on biological control agents, like fungi or nematodes that can attack the beetles directly.
So unleashing a microscopic army of assassins.
Exactly. It's about finding sustainable solutions that work with nature, not against it.
Okay.
Respect the complexity of the ecosystem, right? Find ways to manage these pests without causing further harm.
Right. So it's not just about, killing every last beetle. It's about finding a balance.
A way to coexist.
A way to coexist without letting them completely trash the place.
Exactly. This is an ongoing battle. We're constantly learning new things. Our strategies for managing these guys, they'll continue to evolve.
So it's like this never-ending arms race, but with beetles and scientists instead of superpowers.
You got it. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge we're committed to. We owe it to our forests,
Right?
and to ourselves to protect these ecosystems from invasive pests.
Damn right. We can't let these tiny assholes dictate the fate of our trees.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We're Americans. We fight back, even if the enemy is the size of, like, a grain of rice.
Well, on that note of patriotic defiance, I think we should wrap things up. It's been a really interesting deep dive into the world of Tomicus Piniperda.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, next time you see a wonky pine tree, remember Tomicus Piniperda?
The tiny terror.
The tiny terror that's wreaking havoc on our forests. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and for fuck's sake, don't bring back any unprocessed wood from your European vacations.
And remember, nature is full of surprises. Beautiful and terrifying.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep learning. Never underestimate the power of a tiny creature to really shake things up.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay wild. Peace out, motherfuckers.